Hi guys, Ian from Football Boots, and today we're going to take a look at what's inside the Magista. And we're not just going to look inside, we're going to cut it open and we're going to show you all the technology and how a pair of Magistas gets made. So you may have seen our previous videos on the Mercurials or the Hypervenoms, or today it's the turn of the Magistas. And I'm going to start off by just kind of opening them up down through the middle. There's lots of things we want to look at. We want to look at what's under here, we want to look at the dimples, see underneath the heat map. We want to have a look at the collar construction. We want to talk to you about the upper itself. We want to see what's inside. We've already looked at the uppers and the insides of these, so we'll be able to compare them as well, just see some differences between them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the scissors and we're going to give them a cut. Now, before I cut them, a lot of times you guys are saying, oh, you should have given them to me. Well, this is only the right boot. The left boot is already destroyed, it is already broken, it's already been worn, doesn't work anymore, so there's no point in sending somebody one right boot. Also, we've got a lot of competitions and giveaways on the channel, so if you're subscribed, which you should be, if not, make sure you go subscribe right now, then you have the opportunity to win yourself a pair of boots. If you're enjoying our competitions, you want us to give away more boots, then make sure you give this video a like right now. Smash that like button. We want to get as many likes as possible on this video. If it's a huge number, then we will be doing more giveaways and we will really appreciate it. Anyway, so let's get into this and let's cut down through this and let me show you what is inside the Magista Obra. So this is going to be the easy bit for me to cut, well, till I get to the laces, because this is just the fly knit material here. So let's cut through. When I get to the sole plate, things like that, that's where it's going to get a lot trickier because it's a lot more solid. Alright, so that's the point right there where I've got through, and you can see, it looks kind of cool, this, the way these socks, sorry, not the socks, the laces, and little tubes. Alright, so this is going to get a little bit trickier for my scissors. I'm hoping it's going to be okay. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to get the hot knife out like I did with those. But now we're moving into the point where the Nike skin is also on top of the fly knit, so it's combined here. Alright, we'll try and cut between the two heat maps because I'm thinking I might try and cut a heat map out. So we'll get into it in a minute and we'll find out what is in these kind of like dimpley areas. We're really interested to find out what's going on there. Ooh, is that a clue? Look at that, that's interesting. That's not something that we've seen in the other boots before. Plush in there. Alright, I've got my scalpel, so this is going to help me get deep down into this. Now, interesting, look at that. I've got this outer layer is coming off now. And we'll come back to the other bit a bit later on. Now, just getting to the point with this first bit of, what are we, flywire or brio cables in these? Flywire? And really interesting, you can see why a lot of people will find these comfortable. There's a lot of padding in here, more than we've seen, certainly in the Superfly and probably inside the Hypervenom as well. It's considerably different comfort-wise. There's quite a thick layer of Nike skin that we've got going on here too. And what we want to do is we want to get into here and find out what's inside these parts, but we'll move on to that in a bit. Alright, look at that. Now, one thing we can do is we can take the sock liner out, we don't need that anymore. Interesting, look at that sole plate there. Now, these aren't really that similar at all to, no, these are a lot grippier, the ones that they used with the Nike Grip in the Hypervenom 3s. This is there, but it doesn't really feel to me like it has any functional reason to be there, which is strange. Although it does match up with what you have with the Poron on the sock liner, the inner sole. So potentially they are thinking it is doing something, but they've certainly not marketed it as Nike Grip that they did with the Hypervenoms. These don't match up at all, but this definitely has a bit more grippiness that I can feel in the Hypervenom compared to what you have in here. And this is so much comfier inside of Magista, so if you're looking for comfort with Nike, you can already tell that this is going to feel good on your feet. And it's got this foam area there. So let's cut along this stitch line here and see what we've got. I've managed to separate kind of the extra material that's on the top from a lot of what they've got in here. It's just a kind of crisscross weave of it's just soft foam. It's not the same as the stuff that we found inside the hypervenoms, in these areas here, where it's like the poron, like similar to this. Those are poron pods, so that's a similar product to this. This is different foam, just kind of padding foam, something you might find in like your sofa or something like that, you know. Definitely feels good though. I mean, if it's going to feel good on your bum on the sofa, it's going to feel good with your foot next to it as well in the boot. Give you that bit more of a cushioned feel though, I suppose. So we'll just get that bit off. I'm going to lay it out and then you guys might be able to see a little bit better. Enough to point out. See that? That's just part of that hexagonal thing. Hopefully the camera's picking it up, you guys can see. That's interesting. Alright, let's move on. So I want to cut down this flywire, so I'm really interested to see is to lock the laces into the sole plate of the boot. Give you that lock down. So I should have just cut through it there. Should be hiding in the middle here. So I've managed to get the flywire, and you can just see it out a little bit here. So it's exactly the same, really, as what you see with the flywire that we took out of the hypervenoms. It's very much stuck in there. It's quite hard for me to get to it and get it out. I might try pulling it out in a different point in a second, because I don't see how easy it is for me to get this out. Yeah, we'll take a different section, and we're going to come back in a minute because we're really interested to find out what is inside here. Even what's inside there, look at that. There's something in there that we'll get to in a minute. Let's go around the rest of the boot first and take out some of these flywire bits so we can see what's going on with it. So the thing with these is they're considerably more layered than perhaps any of the other two that we've looked at. Oh, look at all that. That's cool to see that construction underneath. But interestingly, they're glued like all the way down there. Like, there's no glue here, which you would normally find perhaps more up to the edge. So they're really solid because it's not something that's going to separate here. So you know that this is going to stay where it is. This is like ridiculous. Let's gonna have a quick look. The collar is different on these. You guys can tell that from the back, from the outside. So I'm just gonna pull that down. I'm just interested. All this padding that's on there. Really nice, comfort-wise. That is a lot of padding for a football boot. It feels really nice. But I wondered, like, if you wanted more barefoot touch with your Magista, you could actually come in and rip this out. Maybe go half a size down. And then you're going to go straight onto this Nike skin. Go from there. So it's interesting, I think David Luiz, he was one of the players who actually peeled off some of his Nike skin because he felt like he was going to get a better touch with the ball or something. But he probably shouldn't have been doing that. He probably should have been pulling off the inside to get his foot closer to the ball, because there's so much more going on there. And maybe that's one of the problems he was having with them, because he was feeling all this extra material in there. He tried to fix it on the outside, but the reality was it wasn't the problem on the outside, it was a problem on the inside. But only a problem for him, it's not necessarily a problem for everybody. People appreciate that comfort in their football boots. It's something that they want, you know. What's happening is we're getting around the back of the boot and it's getting a lot thicker because you're getting into that heel counter area. My scissors aren't literally cutting it. You can start to see like all the extra material that goes into making this heel counter stronger. This is more of like a plasticky material in here, a lot stronger in there. I'm just still fascinated by the extra material that goes in there. have to choose now whether I'm going to get the hot knife and cut this off, or whether we're pretty much seeing what we want to see. We don't really need to do that. I think what we're really interested in, let's have a look in here and let's find out what's happening inside these pods, or these dimples as such, you know, like these raised areas. Because you've got this heat map area and you're finding things inside that. But what are they? Are they what you see on the outside of the old opus before they covered it up? I'm going to find out in a second. Right, let's start off by trying to cut this one in half. Here we go. And I think I know exactly what that is. Yep. All it is a little bit of extra fly knit. That's what it is. Bit of extra fly knit. So when you look at the opus, the original opus, and we'll put a picture up on screen now, it does almost look kind of fly knitty because it has that colour weave and the pattern into it, and it's almost just like a little ball of fly knit. And it's most likely built into the construction of the upper of these, so it's all tied into one. But interesting on how they must have added them to the opus. Let's just try and get into another couple if we can. There's certainly nothing like what you see on the Hypervenom. Really glued down, so I'm finding it very difficult to get into this. So see that, it's just more fly knit. It's not actually anything in it as such. It's just thicker. I mean, I have to say I'm a little disappointed that we're not finding more. It's literally a bit more of the upper material woven onto itself, so it's more of a bump. That's all it is. There's nothing in there at all, even though it looks like there is, which means they're just using air and the fly knit itself. This is certainly not the same as the little bits of poron that we found in here. Like we took one of those out in the Hypervenom video. If you haven't seen it already, then you can just click on the link right now and go watch it. And that's when we did what's inside the Hypervenoms. You can find out more about what's inside those in comparison to these. So there you go, guys. What we've pretty much discovered from looking at the Magistas is it does have a bit of fly wire down these portions here, the same as you see with the Hypervenoms. It has this kind of spotty pattern on the sole plate, which doesn't necessarily contribute to a lot. Biggest thing I think we've discovered when opening these up is these have got so much more padding in them than you would find in something like a Mercurial or the Superflies. These are very thin, very lacking in material inside them. These are a lot of padding, and honestly I'm really considering whether some people should try and cut out their insides to give them a more barefoot touch with their Obras if they really wanted to. Not sure how you quite do it, but perhaps that's what David Luiz wanted. And we've looked at these, we've pulled out all the upper, and we've seen that it is not the same as what you see in the Hypervenoms. It is just fly knit and air, and they've managed to shape it in such a way that it gives this dimpled upper, but there isn't really anything underneath it, which is so weird because you'd think when you saw the opus with those exposed sections that there was something in there, and perhaps that was even the point of the opus, was trying to tell people that the Obra had something in there when it doesn't really. But I think it's a very well constructed boot. This padding is great. Guys, if you've enjoyed this video, if you like knowing what's inside football boots, then make sure you hit that like button. and give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, we will be doing another video soon. Tell us in the comments who or what boots you would like to see inside of next, and we will try and tell you a little bit more about them and how they are constructed. Till next time, go enjoy your football.